Are you looking for new books to read? Do you like finding a new special author? Are you tired of the same old books from the same old authors? Well then, welcome to Discovered Wordsmiths, a podcast where you can hear from fantastic new authors. Join Stephen Schneider as he finds and talks to authors you may not know, but authors that have worked hard to write great new books. Hear about their book and why you should check it out. So sit back and listen to today's Discovered Wordsmith.
All right, so Jocie, welcome to Discovered Wordsmiths. How you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you very much. Have electricity, have air conditioning, have coffee. I'm happy.
And we're connected. A little inside joke
That's
for
right.
us.
I'm not isolated this time.
Right. Okay, so before we get started talking about your book, tell us a little bit about who you are, what you like to do, where you live, that type of thing.
Sure. I'm Jocie McKade. I live in the Midwest USA, which is the Buckeye State. Go Bucks.
So do I, up by Kent State.
Not quite up that far. I'm Southwest Ohio, but more Cincinnati. But I have been writing pretty much. I first started at 17, actually, and I've been writing on and off ever since. So most of the time I've written nonfiction for magazines, advertising, public relations, PR packages, that type of thing. And then I was a librarian for almost 20 years. So
Wow.
pretty much all of my life has been centered around books, some form or another. Right. We have a huge garden. I love to garden. And when I don't do that, we have a little RV, and we've managed to hit 48 out of 50 states.
Wow,
So
nice,
that's
good.
pretty, yeah.
So I'm
Look
going
out,
to
Alaska.
guess you didn't drive the RV to Hawaii.
Nope, we swam.
Canoe.
Canoe.
So down by where you live, have you been to the Dollar Book Swap?
I have not.
Oh, okay.
They've got quite a few different sales here, but that's one I've not been to.
It actually is grown from a Amazon book depository warehouse. So the first time my son and I went, we thought we were going to get shot at like a cocaine drug bust or something. I mean, it's really scary looking.
Is it
But,
in Cincinnati? The Nasty Natty?
it's closer to Dayton, I think, but it's a little bit in between.
See, I don't know that one. I know Amazon has a fulfillment facility in Louisville or Lexington, maybe. Yeah, Louisville. But no, it's Lexington. And they have one in Wilmington, Ohio, which is actually an air transfer. But I didn't know they had any other one around Dayton.
Yeah, you should go check it out. I mean, it doesn't have the new books so much as some old stuff.
Right.
So.
Oh, that's okay.
And so you were a librarian. You said you've been around books your whole life.
Yeah.
So writing just came naturally to you, or was there a reason you wanted to start writing?
Stories came naturally. I was the kid that could make up the best story in the world to get out of trouble. Being an Irish background, the gift of gab and storytelling, and most of my family being from the South, they could tell a whopper too. So it kind of was in the DNA. But at the same time, my mother was a voracious reader, always a voracious reader. And so there were always books in the house. And she would read aloud to me and you know, kind of got me started on storytelling. And then when I was a kid, basically, I lived at the library. You know, other kids got out, got into trouble, went into sports, whatever. I was at the library sneaking between the shelves. And at that time, unlike today, you had to have parental permission to go from the children's side of the library into the adult side of the library. And I would crawl between the shelves in order to go to the adult section of the library and read War and Peace, because I was that child.
So it just kind of came naturally. You've always
been
involved.
It did. And it was good escape. There were some tumultuous times when I was younger, and the library saved my life. So I owe a lot of what I am to books.
Got it. Nice. All right. So tell us about your book.
Well, I've written almost 20 books. The series that I'm working on now, which seems to be my most popular, is a cozy mystery series. It is the Mason-Dixon series. The first book is The Line is Drawn. And it began, I'm my family's token Yankee. All of my family is from the southern US. And my mother used to tease me as a child that I could go from the south to the north just with a snap, with accent or with words. You know, it's a buggy in the south, it's a grocery cart up here. And I always laugh that I can go from you guys to y'all in the same sentence without skipping a beat. So I thought it would be kind of fun. What if there were actually two sisters, a northern sister and a southern one, who didn't know that each other existed? And that's where the story kind of took off.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
So are all your books cozy mysteries?
No, they're not. I actually have, I can't figure out what I want to be when I grow up. I have a romantic comedy series called The Three Bears, set in Wyoming. That was actually my first series, and that was published by a regular legitimate publisher. I got the rights back later, and it's still one of my best-selling series. But when I write it, it just turned into a mystery versus a romantic comedy. There is the romance element, and it is funny, but there's a mystery in each book. And I thought, this really isn't a romance, it's a mystery with romance in it. So, and then I have a historical set in ancient Rome. And then I have a little series of tea reading mysteries. So it's still a mystery and it's still a cozy mystery, but it does have just a touch of paranormal to it. Kind of like maybe The Good Witch on Hallmark, that type of element.
Okay. Yeah, I like that you said that. So the line is drawn. What's that, would you say, is similar to another book series or something on TV or whatever?
I don't know that it's similar to too much. I mean, obviously it has elements of being a cozy mystery and a detective type novel, but the girls in it were separated at birth or shortly after. They didn't know the other existed. Then they're actually twins. One is from Boston, Massachusetts, and the other one from Huntsville, Alabama. So there's quite a disparity there between the two of them. This premise starts out that they were called to Washington, D.C. about each one of their parents. One was raised by the father, one by the mother, died on the same day. And so they end up getting this notice to go to Washington about settling their estate, which kind of blows their mind because neither of their parents had an estate. And when they get there, that's when they discover each other. And the gentleman that's about to tell them everything about their past and what they want to know is suddenly assassinated in front of them. So an agent gets them out into a safe house that their parents have set up for them in Virginia Beach. And once they get there, as the plot unwinds, they discover, as they're getting drunker and drunker over margaritas, that, you know what, we're pretty good at detective stuff and blah, blah, blah. So they think if they start a detective agency, they'll be able to search for secrets about their parents without really raising red flags. But that isn't the case. And of course, every time they get a little bit closer to the truth about their parents and what happened, a dead body literally falls into their life, and they try to solve that mystery as they go. So each book is complete in and of itself in that it has a murder or two, and they solve it, but there's always an ending, open end, where they're trying to find the truth about their parents.
Nice. Okay. It almost sounds like the adult cozy mystery version of a Parent Trap.
Maybe it could be, yeah, something similar to that. It's because my daughter, when she was like 10, made me watch it 478 times. Maybe that's it.
And here's my Jessica Fletcher little Muse Funko Pop. So
I like her.
Yeah. Okay. So, and she's not standing up now. So, you write cozy mysteries. Is that what you normally like to read? Or did you just fall into how'd you get to choose cozy mystery?
Actually, my reading, I'm every guy's favorite girlfriend because I love thrillers. I'm the Jason Bourne, Jack Carr, Brad Thor, Vince Flynn reader, and I love those books. There's this little part of me that goes, yeah, it could be that bad. And the other part of me goes, really, who are you kidding? So
You
I
and my
love
mother would get along really well.
and I love those, and I'm the one, I'll go somewhere with my husband and they'll be talking about weapons, and all of a sudden I know about this Russian gun, and my husband's like, how do you know? I'm like, Jack Carr.
Right.
But actually, and I don't, if I'm writing mystery, I don't read it. I don't want it to kind of cloud what I'm reading. But I did grow up, with the Nancy Grew, the Hardy Boys, all of those kind of books that I'm sure had an influence.
Yeah, nice. I loved Hardy Boy growing up, had
Yeah.
tons of them, read them.
Yes.
Yeah. So you mentioned one of your earlier books was more traditionally published, and I take it these now are independent. So do you try and do traditionally, or you're just independent now, or?
I'm pretty much totally indie now. I did go the traditional path, and I found that I was still doing all of the work basically, as far as doing any of the marketing and all of that. So why not just do it on my own and, get more of the royalties as I go. And also I was rejected quite a bit because my books don't fit into a particular genre. As I said, my romance books are not truly romance. They're more mystery, and they're not romantic suspense. There's not a big, yes, the couple goes together and, ends up riding off into the sunset, but they're solving this unexpected mystery as they go. So it doesn't fit, like a Harlequin. It doesn't fit into their parameters. And some of the mysteries don't, because they're too humorous. Most people, if they read a mystery, they don't find humor in dead bodies. I do. So I'm the friend you don't want to take anywhere where you need to be in polite society. So
Did you like the TV show Castle?
I love Castle. Yeah. Yes.
That made me think of that when you were saying all that. That was one of my favorites.
Yes. And I'm a huge fan of Star Trek. I'm a Trekkie from way back. So
me too. Oh, well, I got to interview Armin Shimmerman, who played Quark a couple episodes ago. So yeah.
Oh, wow, that's awesome. Yeah. He was a great actor, really, very underrated.
Yes, he was a great man. He was stuck in Kansas City because he was under COVID watch. He was doing a play, but he was stuck in his room. So he's like, I'm really bored and have nothing to do. You just want to talk for a while. So I got to talk to him for like an hour after the podcast. I was like, dang.
Well, often on that one, people always go, oh, what's your favorite character? Which is kind of like asking about your favorite child. But always my engineers were the favorite. I'm like, seriously, that's the Enterprise would not have run without the engineers. You could eliminate the captain and all of them if it wasn't for, Scotty and O'Brien and all of those. Yep. Geordi. They wouldn't have made it out of situations. But
right.
I have to say my favorite character of all of them would be Kira Nerys.
Oh, okay. DS9.
She was tough. She never lost her faith. And even in spite of a lot of obstacles that were thrown at that character, and she was one tough lady character. And think about it. She's facing down the Romulans with a 40-year-old ship. So I'm like, yeah, that's my favorite character. Nice. If I grow up, I want to be like her.
Good, great. Well, this is off topic a little bit. We're on another track, but I got to ask, out of all the new Star Trek shows, what do you like in those?
Honestly, I haven't seen any of those. I've been so busy with other things, and I don't have Paramount Plus. So, and as I said, in the rural area on a farm, I'm lucky to get Netflix on occasion. So,
right. They have one that's Christopher Pike and the Enterprise before Kirk, and I've really been wanting to watch it, and I just haven't had the time to even watch it.
Yeah, I think that would be interesting. I'd like to see how they do it. The movies, I can't say I'm all that thrilled with because they went so far from the actual story plot that I was annoyed. So, because there was a lot they could have worked with without changing some of the storyline. But
if you ever get to watch Star Trek Discovery, drop me an email and let me know what you think, because it's way off of the rails. I'm still trying to figure that one out. Yeah. So, so for your books, let's get back on topic of what we should be talking about.
Sorry about that.
No, hey,
moment.
you get me stuck on, all the sci-fi stuff. What's the feedback like from readers with your books?
I've had very, very good feedback. I've had great reviews, just not a whole lot of them. I'm one of those people who I could market someone else's books with aplomb. I'm great at marketing someone else. I am terrible at marketing myself. I kind of feel like I'll date myself here. Herb Tarlick, the used car salesman who trying to market myself. It's very difficult for me to do that. That's probably, if I can do it without actually conversing with people, I'm better. If I can just do it on paper. But the feedback I've gotten has been great. They like the premise of the story. In fact, pretty much every one of my readers, I have a personal reader group online, McKade's Mavericks, and they want to see it made into a movie or a TV series because they think it'd be really fun as a TV series. Spielberg, if you're listening, I am.
So what would you prefer? Do you like a movie or TV show better?
Probably TV show, because I think people invest in characters in a TV show. You come back week to week. It's almost like having a Sunday family dinner, so to speak, because you go each week and you build upon this character, you build relationships, you watch them do that throughout the series. And I think that's why I like writing a series as an author. Even though my books are standalone, if you start with the first one, you see how the relationship has built over time. And I think that's why people like series. That's why people like TV shows.
And I've been finding it interesting because 5 years ago and before, just about everybody was like, oh, I want a movie, I want a movie, I want a movie. But things have changed so much, and there's so many good shows, and people are realizing they can get more character into a show, more story, and really dive into some of these books better. And the books translate much better into a TV show, an 8-episode, 10-episode show. And it's changed. The world's totally changed from just 5 years ago and before. I think more people are saying TV nowadays.
Yeah, I think a movie a lot of times is kind of like you read the book, you see the movie. And of course, there's two different formats. I've done some script writing too, and it's a very different format. But you only get a peripheral part of the story. And when you write a script based off the book, you have to just get certain points, because you'd have to have an 8-hour movie in order to do most books. And whereas with TV, you can do that 8-hour movie in 1-hour increments. Right. So you can build on those characters, you can get more depth of story.
Yes. I just watched Reacher on Amazon, and I'd never read a Reacher book, but I was like, this is a great series. Nice action, but a good storyline, good characters. So
yeah, they do well with Reacher in giving you that little snippet of backstory so that you understand where that character's emotion comes from. And the gentleman, I can't think of his name, but the gentleman that plays Reacher.
Yeah, he was a Green Arrow on the Smallville TV show back 20 years ago.
Was he?
Yes, he put on like 40 pounds and beefed up a lot. Yeah, go look.
I was 20 years younger.
Yeah, well, go look it up. You see him back then, and he's this skinny little dude, and then you see him on Reacher, and he's really beef. So it's like, wow.
Well, I've read the Reacher books, and not taking anything away from Tom Cruise, but he is not the character you see, when you see Jack Reacher in your head, and this young man is. He's who you see as Reacher.
I honestly liked the Amazon TV show better than both of the movies. So
I did too.
Yeah,
I did too.
They were really good. And I had never read a Reacher book until after I watched the Amazon series.
Yeah,
I
read quite a bit of it as a child. As I said, I'm the thriller reader. Yeah, and now I'm watching Jack Carr's Terminal List. So.
Oh, okay. I haven't seen that.
Very good. Very, very. It's you almost have to wait a week between them because it comes at you so hard and fast. So yeah, most of people like me don't, but yeah, I had to wait a few days between, I'm up to like episode 4 or 5, and it's like sugar overload, so to speak. You have to take it in small amounts.
Well, personally, I prefer to do that anyway. I don't like to binge anything I watch. So.
No, I like to carry it out a little bit and enjoy.
Yeah. Yep. So Jocie, your book, all your books, where can we find those? I assume on Amazon, but is there anywhere else we can find those?
Yeah, I had them on other formats, and honestly never sold any, other than when I go to book signings. And I sell a lot of hard copies at book signings, but I never sold in any format except Amazon. So they're pretty much exclusively on Amazon. I do have a few on Barnes and Nobles, but almost all of them are, in fact, all of them are on Amazon, but there are a few. I think the Bear series and Mason-Dixon are both on Barnes and Nobles.
Okay. All right. And do you have a website?
I do. It's jociemckade.com. And Jocie, my Jocie spelled a little weird. It's Jocie, which means I get porn in French for some reason on my spam account. So.
Wow. Okay.
But it's jociemckade.com.
Well, I will make sure we have the website correct on the show notes. We don't want to be sending people to the wrong place and really get the wrong idea about your writing.
It comes to me in my spam folder. And, you always get spam, rude and crude spam here and there. But suddenly, once I started using Jocie, which is actually my grandmother's name, is Jocelyn. And so she spelled it with a C for Jocie. And when I did that, then it's like I got porn coming in my spam filter from France. Although on the plus side, I can say some pretty dirty curse words in French now that they never taught me in high school. That's
always a positive side, right? There's got to be a good side.
I may not use them in the right context, but
So what's your plans for your next book?
I am currently working on Mason-Dixon 5. And I also have a tea leaf reader mystery. It's out there, and they're a series of short stories. And so I should have one of those by the end of this year as well. So hopefully by September, I'll have the next Mason-Dixon, and by December, I'll have the next tea leaf mystery.
Nice. Okay. So off of your book for a little bit, what are some of your favorite books and authors that you like to read?
I have a list. I read a lot of nonfiction. As I said, in my real world job, I write for many blogs and magazines, so I do a lot of nonfiction reading. But I love Vince Flynn, Brad Thor, James Rollins, Jack Carr. I do read first, just fun, which would be I like Kate London. She writes a wonderful little romance series. Sandra Brown, love Janet Ivanovich. And there's a few probably lesser knowns that I enjoy reading. Christine Raymond, she writes mysteries, and she's not a very big name, but she writes some lovely books I enjoy. Kim Foster writes a series, is it Burglars? The premise of hers, and I think it's a 3-book series, is the main character is a cat burglar, and she works for an agency of cat burglars, and she's dating an FBI agent. So it makes for some fun and interesting moments. Nice. And it's got a lot of humor in it. My thrillers, I love to read thrillers, but if I read other genres, I like to have a little bit of humor in them.
Okay. So if you had to name one book as your favorite book of all time, what would that be? Sorry.
Favorite book of all time. If I'm going on emotion and something that has evoked a lot of emotion, it would have to be The Education of Little Tree, To Kill a Mockingbird, 1984. Those kind of books, just for their depth of character, depth of story, because they really can evoke a lot of emotion.
Yeah. Okay.
I can pick one. I can pick one.
I like authors because I get a lot of authors that are like, oh, I like thrillers, writing them and reading them. But then you get some that are like, well, I write humor, but I read historical texts, and so it's really interesting to see what different things people read compared to what they're writing.
It is. It very much is. It's like right now, I got an order from Amazon, and I have a book on canning, a book on permaculture, a book on no-till farming, and I'm like, I'll just leave it there.
Yeah, I always listen to the podcast. They're like, well, you should get people coming that buy books and similar, so you're also bots. And I'm like, man, you ought to see my also bots. I've got.
Okay, you're not moving. Fine. Okay, slowly, a little delayed, but you're there.
Okay, good. All right.
I apologize. Yay. I've got 2 backup internets here, and I'm sorry.
Okay, well, good. I'm glad we got back on. We had been talking about books and authors. Next question I was going to ask is, do you have a favorite bookstore close to where you live? Uh-oh, hello? There, you there?
I'm here. Are you there?
Yes. Yeah, it keeps cutting out. I see you move a little bit every now and then. I'm not hearing you. Jocie, you still there? Oh, okay.
I can hear you.
I saw you mute and you came back a little bit.
Yeah, I was trying to see if that's because it looked like it'd been marked out, but no, it was.
Okay. Well, it seems back on, maybe.
Okay. I'm so sorry.
Yeah,
And so trouble with living in a rural area, this is what I deal with all the time. Is people say, oh, I have 25 megs and it's so slow. And I'm cursing them under my breath, but
yeah. I live in a rural area. Yeah, I live in a rural area too. We don't get really great most of the time.
No.
And the guy even said, well, the whole road is fiber, but they won't do fiber from the road to the house. It's just the old copper lines. So you're limited to speeds. And I'm like, that's so ridiculous.
Yes.
So.
Yes, it is. Yes.
All right.
We can't get cable. I mean, I can get dish, but anyhow, I apologize.
No, that's
we'll try again.
So what I was asking, where you live, do you have a favorite bookstore that you like to go to?
I did. We had one. It was Books and Company, but it's no longer there. There is one in Lebanon it's Mulberry Street Books, and I enjoy going there. It's a small, privately owned, family owned bookstore, and I do enjoy that.
I think I've been to that one actually. One time.
Yeah, it's really cute. It's downtown Lebanon. Lebanon's kind of a little historical town, and you can still get burgers and fries at the ice cream shop and then go to the bookstore. So that's kind of a fun Saturday for nerds like me.
Nice. I like that. All right. So before we move on to author stuff, if you ran into somebody and they said, well, Jocie, why should I buy your book? What would you tell them?
Because you want it. In today's world, you might need a laugh because they will make you laugh. And it's just pure 100% escapism. I'm not making a point, a political moment, a grandstand. It's just absolute humor. And that's it. Just escapism. You know, and I'm so thrilled when somebody takes their hard-earned money and buy a book. Even if it's just one, I'm like, somebody bought one of my books. They actually thought it was worth spending money on.
Right.
And it's still a thrill. I mean, it never gets old. So.
Right. Okay, great. Well, Jocie, I appreciate you sharing all that about your books with us. And I wish you luck on it.
Thank you very much. And thank you for hosting me today. And I'm sorry about all the weird complications.
Well, that's part of, if we were all Stephen King, we'd have better internet and computers and stuff. So.
That's true.
Thank you for listening to Discovered Wordsmiths. Come back next week and listen to another author discuss the road they've traveled, and maybe, sometime in the near future, it might be you.